My mom took away every single school supply for school, every outfit, everything, and I had to earn them back piece by piece, like pencil by pencil.
One time when I was a teenager, I decided to sneak out of the house, and my parents knew that I did and decided to lock all the doors so that I could not get back in.
When I was young, I was sitting around the dinner table with my brother and sister, and we were being goofy and we were eating and talking with our mouths full of food. It was pretty gross. My mom got really angry. She screamed at us, "Don't talk with your mouth open."
So in Brazil, something that parents do as a way of discipline is you have to kneel on corn kernels on like a corner.
My dad used to be a preacher, and we would, you're sitting in service trying to, focus and stuff. And we start whispering to our friends, and my dad would call us out off the pulpit and be like, "Heather, I can see you talking in the back row, you need to be quiet." And we would just be like, or he would have us come to the front of the church.
I was in trouble for not cleaning my room. I declared that I was gonna go find a new family because I didn't like this one. My mom very nicely packed my bags for me, put them by the front door and said, "Good luck." I left, and after about an hour realized I hadn't thought that through, came back home and said that I would give them another chance.
You need to really think about what you do, and if possibly, these verses in Proverbs may be as true as all the other verses in Proverbs that we claim. But these just happen to be unpopular. Well, actions is one thing, but then words. Clear instructions or reproof. I gave you those two little Hebrew words out of Proverbs, and the second one had to do with very specific words. And so 4 ways to use words to bring about correction. And by the way, we always start with words. Just clarification, I rarely spank my kids. I rarely had to. But if that is a clear expectation and they know that when you say this or say that, you actually mean it, a lot of times it's, "Son," and he looks at you, "It's time to go." All it takes is, "Eric." You know what that means? Consequences are coming. Bam, he gets up. But there's never a line, your words don't mean much. So number 1, say no firmly. Say no firmly. Here's what I see happen. And by the way, everything I'm going to share, all these illustrations like, "Oh, I do that, I can't believe it." Well, where do you think I get them? This is our failure as parents over the years, okay? And so this is like, and I'll exaggerate just to make the quick point. Your daughter says, "Can I do a sleepover with these 3 girls? And we're going to watch this movie, and I think it's really going to be great, and your parents are going to be home, and everything's going to be okay." And immediately, the 3 girls just got out of juvie. It's a triple X-rated movie. The houses aren't there, and both parents are drug addicts. And, okay, am I exaggerating enough? And inside, you're thinking, absolutely not, right? Inside, no way. And here's your response. "Oh, honey, I don't know. That doesn't really sound like a good..." And what do they hear? "There's a window," right? "Come on, Mom, don't you really trust me? I mean, I never get to do anything, and, I love Jesus, and maybe this is my chance to really help them, and come on, Mom." And then it's like, "Well, honey, no, I just really don't think so." Your words are saying one thing. What's your tone of voice saying? "There's a window." So now it's, "I can't believe it. You don't trust me at all. I could never do anything. Slam the door." And now you got drama. Say what you mean, say it clearly, say it firmly, and if you don't mean it, then don't say it. So, same situation. She says that, or you fill it in. And you stop, and if you're not sure, you say, "Ooh, you know what? I need to pray about that." And if you're not a single parent, then you say, "I need to talk with your father. This is a big decision. I'll let you know later." But if it's an absolute one, what you say is, "Did I hear you right?" "Absolutely not." "But Mom," and then you give them this look. If you haven't worked on this means, "Oh, you are on dangerous ground." This is the look. "But Mom," and you go. And you know what that look means? There is no more discussion. And you know what? They accept it. Say no firmly. You ever go over to friends' houses, or they come to your house, and the kids really like each other, and they're really having fun, and so they're like running around and going nuts and going crazy, and you do stuff like this because you're with your friends, and, hey, kids, stop running through here, stop running through here. You don't mean it at all. Okay. So they run out, and hey, how things going? Zoom, zoom, they come through again. Toys are coming off. Hey, I told you guys, slow down, stop in here. Do not run through the living room while we're talking. You don't mean it at all. 3 minutes later, here they come again, right? And then pretty soon, like the number 4 time, you do something like this that embarrasses you in front of your friends. Hey, what in the blank did I say? I said stop right now. And then you realize, oh my, I am embarrassing myself, and this is not really a good moment. See, say what you mean. If you don't, hey, stop. I know you guys haven't seen each other and you really like each other. You can go outside right now, run all you want. Okay, listen, eye contact. If you run through here again, 7-minute timeout. If you do it after that, you and Daddy will have a special moment together in the bedroom. And then eye contact. Do you understand? Now, what are they going to do? They're going to run through one more time, correct? So your game face comes on, and boom, here they go. Stop. And hey, it takes time. You sit them down, and hopefully the 7-minute works. Say no firmly. Second, clear warning of consequences. I tried to model that. Let them know. I mean, kids are kids. Let them be kids. But warn them, this is going to happen if you don't do this or that, right? Give them a clear warning. And get there, don't make a clear warning. Hey, if you do that again, you're going to be in trouble. Shh. No, stop them. Look them in the eye. Third, use contracts. As they get older, I mean, my wife, I think it was my big son, and I don't know, maybe he was 11, 12 or something like that, and he did something, he sort of had a little big rebellious mode actually. And so she felt like, I just really need to address this, and this is how you know it's time to stop. If you use spanking, don't do this anymore. Hefty Teresa. He started laughing. He just busted out laughing. Just go to your room. We'll talk about this later. I mean, here's the thing. A consequence has to work. And especially in the teen years, this isn't about spanking. And parents, I mean, is there like 4 or 5 things when they're teenagers? I mean, it's not rocket science, right? They don't do their chores, they're disrespectful, they won't do their homework, they're hanging out with the wrong people. They beat up their brother or sister. I mean, right? It's like they're not responsible, they won't do this. I mean, there's only like 4 or 5 major things that any kid messes up with. And what happens, you get into these wars all the time. Stop the wars. When you're not upset, when they haven't done something wrong, it's like you have a good time, maybe it's after a meal, you go out for a Coke, whatever you do, and then you come and you say, something, we've been battling one another, I love you too much. I remember sitting down and doing this, this is just no fun. I mean, I love you, you're so fun to be around, but we keep arguing about you don't do your schoolwork, or, my one son, you just keep beating up your brother every time we leave, and the hole in the wall just is not really good, and true story, and so I said, okay, let's just list the things that are a problem on the left side. And then, I've tried everything. It's not working. So here's a column that says consequences that are negative. You tell me, if you do this, what negative consequence would really help you obey? What would help you learn? And then, by the way, here's the next column, positive consequence. Like, if you really, obeyed in that area for X amount of time, what would be a good perk? I mean, what would just say, hey, man, that's worth... Okay, and we just went through the 4 or 5 things, and I had him write it down. And I remember he said, if I was grounded from basketball practice for 2 days, okay, we'll write that one down. Okay, well, of course. Now, by the way, anytime you do this, they test it. You know why? They're like you. It's like Adam and Eve. Do not do this. Okay, right? It's part of the human condition. And so, of course, he wrote him down. I wrote him down. It's a contract. He does it. He finally makes the first team. He's going to miss basketball practice, and then he's, Dad, you can't do this to me. I worked all summer. I lifted weights. I practiced. I finally made the first team. I'm going to start next Friday night. If I miss these 2 practices, I won't start. How could you do this to me? Now, I'm very calm. I said, oh, son, I'm not doing anything. The contract that we made, and I signed it here, and you signed it there. And you know something? I'm so bummed out. I was so forward looking to you start. I watched your hard work, and boy, I am so sad that this is your contract. You get to own your responsibility. you see the difference? So you get out of this arguing drama. And I had a lady come up with 3 boys. They're the most wonderful boys, but she gave me her top 3 problems, or top 3 or 4 of everyone. Sit down, write a contract with them. And they were like, teenagers and one younger one. And they kind of, yeah, we'd do that. But just sit down and use a contract. Finally, use consequences. I'll have now and then have someone say, you can't believe it. My daughter is completely out of control. She doesn't come in at night. She's drinking. I know there's marijuana we found. She's dating a boy that is totally outside the bounds. She's 15 years old. We don't know what to do. We've been to counseling. I'm powerless. What do I do? And I'm not the greatest counselor at all, and that's why I don't do much of it. And you all think I'm joking. I'm not. But here's my response. I said, oh, wow, you're powerless? Yes. What can I do? I said, well, does she drive at all? Oh, yeah. So, man, 15, 16, so did she buy the car? No, it's ours. Oh. Well, who pays for the gas? Well, we do. Who pays for the insurance? Well, we do. Oh, wow. Does she have a phone? Yeah. Who pays for that? We do. She got a laptop? No, she's got the new iPad and actually got the Galaxy level 19. Oh. And I just went through and I started asking her questions. So you're powerless? Does she have an outside job to eat food in your house? And does she rent the room? I said, excuse me, you hold all the cards. And eliminate the drama. Here's 1 or 2 very clear boundaries. The next time this happens, by the way, in fact, the car is gone, this is gone, we'll start with this one, and you just begin to the velvet vice of love, and you be the parent. And now, by the way, I got to the point with one of my sons where I did all that because some of you are thinking, well, they might just opt out. I got where 17 and a half years old, tears down my face and tears down his face. I wish you weren't a Christian dad, and I don't, no rules. You can't tell me anything. I said, and don't do this unless you've prayed it through, gotten good counsel from a counselor and probably a pastor and thought through. But, you've tried everything. And I remember sitting in front of the car, in front of my house, said, you're destroying our marriage. You're destroying our home. You're 17 and a half years old. If you're man enough now to get a job, find a place to live, and figure out what you're going to do for food, then I can't teach you. So you got 48 hours. You can either come, you don't have to believe anything I believe. You don't, but I will tell you this, either you come and have a good attitude and stop ruining our family, or you find a place to live. And I wasn't bluffing, and he knew it. And I was crying. Later he came back and he said, Dad, it wasn't all the discipline. He said, when you and Mom cried, I realized how precious and real Jesus is to you. I went in my bedroom for 48 hours, realized a lot of it was just my pure rebellion. And part of it was, you push my buttons, Dad, and I push yours. But he said, God really spoke to me. He came out of the room, and I was waiting for this, the second shoe to drop, like he was a manipulator. It seems like rebellious kids are very smart. And then we watched a complete change. I want to give parents hope here. God can do anything. 2 of the 3 songs we sang, this kid wrote them, and they're sung all over the world. My prayer wasn't that he write songs. My prayer was, oh God, keep him out of the ditch. Oh God, help him not do something so stupid that he's going to ruin the rest of his life. But all I can do is set a boundary over here and say, you know what, in our house, you can't treat people that way. And over here, no matter what you do, I'm going to love you. And is it hard? It's excruciatingly hard. All discipline for the moment seems not to be joyful but sorrowful, but after they've been trained by it, it yields a peaceful fruit of righteousness. On the back page, I've given you a game plan. It's pretty self-explanatory. Here's some pitfalls to avoid. We've all done these, right? The screaming parent, the all talk, you have a good talk, or nagging that's not working. I just put this abusive parent. If you're striking your child or you're out of control, get help. We have a great team in partnership with great counselors. That just get help. The closed-lip parent is just the passivity of, you just think this is going to go away. When you don't address stuff, your kid's heart is telling him you don't care. And then finally, the light bulb parent is, you're totally inconsistent. This is really matters on Monday, and on Friday, you don't care. The game plan is just simple. Identify the top 2 behavior problems. Don't try and tackle everything. Just what are the top 1 or 2 things that are just making you crazy and making your kid crazy? And then honestly evaluate. I mean, go back to the first page and ask yourself honestly, which one of those? Where do I lean? Where do I need to address some issues? Many times when my kids were disobeying, what I realized was I wanted to blame them. The problem was me. I was inconsistent. I wasn't avoiding some of those pitfalls. And then third, have a family conference. You sit down, and often you start it with, something, I've not been the dad I needed to be. Either inconsistent or I didn't do this. But I want you to know, here's the top 2 issues. Here's the plan. Here's the consequences. I love you. This is how we're going to move forward. And then strap it on. They will test you. And you need to win. And then finally, sit down and set some goals together and ask God to work in a powerful way. He will. There's hope. You ready? Let's stand together. Lord, you know what's going on inside of every home and every family. And I thank you that we never walk alone. But Lord, for those that are really struggling, and boy, I have so been there, I thank you that you are faithful. I thank you that there's people in this room that have gone through already what some are currently going through, and they're willing to help. So Lord, for those that are really struggling, would you just help them to either talk to a friend or come down front and just talk with someone to come up with a game plan? We love you. We need you. We thank you. In Christ's name, amen.
My mom took away every single school supply for school, every outfit, everything, and I had to earn them back piece by piece, like pencil by pencil.
One time when I was a teenager, I decided to sneak out of the house, and my parents knew that I did and decided to lock all the doors so that I could not get back in.
When I was young, I was sitting around the dinner table with my brother and sister, and we were being goofy and we were eating and talking with our mouths full of food. It was pretty gross. My mom got really angry. She screamed at us, "Don't talk with your mouth open."
So in Brazil, something that parents do as a way of discipline is you have to kneel on corn kernels on like a corner.
My dad used to be a preacher, and we would, you're sitting in service trying to, focus and stuff. And we start whispering to our friends, and my dad would call us out off the pulpit and be like, "Heather, I can see you talking in the back row, you need to be quiet." And we would just be like, or he would have us come to the front of the church.
I was in trouble for not cleaning my room. I declared that I was going to go find a new family because I didn't like this one. My mom very nicely packed my bags for me, put them by the front door and said, "Good luck." I left, and after about an hour realized I hadn't thought that through, came back home and said that I would give them another chance.